Coming up on today's show, we're going to go over a mock draft from the 33rd team, all 7 rounds. But we do our own mock drafts around here, and I'll be honest, I think I do a pretty good job. If you would like a brand new Seahawks mock draft from Chat Sports ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft, like today's video, I will make a deal because I'm a man of deals. If we get at least 500 likes on today's video, your fearless leader will bring you a mock draft as early as this week. So, does that sound like a deal? I think that sounds like a deal. Hit the like button. We'll get started with today's show. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for stopping by here on Seattle Seahawks today. The 33rd team, in case you don't know what the 33rd team is, they're one of the newer sites covering the National Football League. It's put together by a lot of former front office executives that have been around the league for a long time. And they did a mock for all 32 teams of all 7 rounds, no trades. And what we're going to do here on today's show is we're going to show you the picks that were made for Seattle, what they had to say about the picks, and also give you our thoughts as well here on today's show. So let's get started with the first pick for the Seahawks at 18 overall. The 33rd team projects Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden with the pick. Here's more from Kyle Krabs, who I cannot confirm or deny has Krabs, writes the following. Seattle's revamped passing offense has many threats that can live in the middle of the field, but finding a field stretcher to change the math for how teams space the field against Seattle is a must. Golden has the makings of a great foil to Kupp and Smith and Jigba. Now, I evolve around here. Opinions can change over time. I'm becoming more open to the idea of drafting Matthew Golden. I feel like we've seen a whole lot of mock drafts over the last couple of weeks that have made this same projection of Golden going to Seattle at 18. But if you do this, it's a two-edged sword, right? If you're going to go this route of drafting Matthew Golden or another receiver, then you better do a bang-up job at getting this offensive line right. It's a slippery slope. I want an offensive lineman, and that would be my preference at this. But if you look at the board and say, we're still going to get our opportunities to get what we're looking for, then I can live with potentially the selection of Matthew Golden or another receiver with this pick. So let's ask you, what do you think about Matthew Golden? Should the Seahawks draft Matthew Golden? Type S for select, P for pass. Wait in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. The NBA playoffs are here. I know we still wish we had the Sonics around here, but maybe you want to make the trek to go see an NBA playoff game. Game Time's the place to do it, folks. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Seahawks Today, where they have their last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section. Let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Their seat views give a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. The Game Time ticket coverage includes your purchase being covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code ChatSports for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, the lowest price is guaranteed. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time, and you'll be glad you did, folks. Maybe it's an event in Seattle, like you want to go see the Mariners. I would love to go see the Mariners right now. They got the prices listed. Choose your seat, and you're checking out on Game Time. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Check it out. Game Time. Link is in the comments and the description of today's video. All right, let's continue. So we had Matthew Golden with the first-round pick at 18. Then we go to our first of 2 second-round picks, and this is where we go find a big fish, that being Jonah from the University of Arizona at the offensive line. Now, it's to be determined, is he going to be an offensive tackle? Is it going to be a guard? Either way, I can find a spot for him one way or another and figure out what to do with Abraham Lucas. If I have to move Lucas to guard, if I have to play Jonah at guard, whatever it may be, he will start for me immediately. He's got solid burst and shock that he brings to the table. He's got moves like Jagger. He can move it, folks. And that's really good for an offensive lineman. And his grades are pretty solid across the board when it comes to what he can do in both pass blocking and run blocking. Then we go with one of the best players in college football this past year. JTT, the edge rusher from The Ohio State, was a part of the national champion roster there for the Buckeyes. Good size and frame. He was very productive as well on that national championship team. And he had such an impact. I don't think Ohio State wins the national championship without him. That's how much he meant to the Buckeyes this past season. I think this would not be a bad pick to add some depth. You can never have too many pass rushers. I think it could be a decent pick for Seattle there at 52. Now, we will head to the third round in a moment, but first, your chance to put your GM hat on and tell us, should the Seahawks draft JTT? If so, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Chime in that comment section and let us know. At 82 in the third round, we find Jamaree Caldwell, the defensive tackle from the University of Oregon. And one thing I've heard from the 12s as we've done our draft coverage over the last couple of weeks, can we find somebody that's a real nose tackle that's meant to play specifically the nose tackle position? And Caldwell has got good build for the nose tackle spot there specifically. So that's very good that he's got the size and frame you're looking for at that position. And we talk about having strength in numbers, getting some depth there, getting some rotational pieces, and making life easier for the rest of your defensive linemen. Jaron Reed's going to get older. Byron Murphy, we've heard in the past, Mike Macdonald talk about his concerns of his conditioning in all seriousness. And I like Byron Murphy too, but maybe give him a couple snaps off and let Caldwell jump in here. I think it could be a good fit there. Another offensive lineman, this guy's seen his stock drop. Some people had him as a first-round pick at one point. Now he's projected to go third round. In this mock, he goes 92 to Seattle. That is Anthony Belton, the offensive tackle from NC State. He excels against power rushers. All right? When you think of the Trey Hendricksons of the world or the Aiden Hutchinsons, and you're trying to just hold your own against those guys, Belton can do just that. He can hold his own and limit those power rushers from having those explosive days. Then at 137, we finally get a second receiver, actually. And this is where we find Tez Johnson from Oregon. And I got to say, I like Tez Johnson a lot. He's got a terrific story. He and Bo Nix, they grew up together. Bo Nix's family adopted him, raised him as their own child, and they might as well be brothers. And he's dynamic, and he's explosive. And he's not just a threat when it comes to the receiving game, but he's also a threat when it comes to kick and punt return coverage as well. You will find ways to get Tez Johnson on the football field and get the most out of him. Who is a player the Seahawks should draft? We've gone over several of these names from the 33rd team's mock draft. Who comes to mind for you? Name me a player in the comments section below. Up next, we go to pick number 172. This is where we find Clemson safety R.J. Mickens with the pick. We know Seattle has a need at safety. It's not their most pressing need, but still a need nonetheless. Mickens is rapid, and he is an instinctive processor. He can pick up things pretty fast, which you always wonder with these rookies. How quickly can they pick up the defense? How quickly can they compete for playing time? Mickens is a guy that can come in right away and compete, and that we could potentially see a lot of if he got the chance. Then we go to 175, just a few picks later, and we're going with another Oregon Duck. Notice a trend here? Just wait, folks. This is where we find Madden Jr., the linebacker from Oregon. Good length and tackle radius that he brings to the table. You're not going to have to worry about too many missed tackles with him, as he can close up that space very well in that sense. What is the biggest need for the Seahawks in this draft? If you had to narrow it down to one thing, what would that be? I can already just see it in the comments section. Lineman, lineman, lineman. Let us know what that is. Another Oregon Duck. This time it's Jordan James, the running back. I like Jordan James. And what I like about this mock is we know that Seattle could use some help in the backfield, whether it be running back or fullback. But you already have some good backs with K9 and Charbonnet and Kenny McIntosh. If we're going to get a running back, we're not going too early at this. Giving James a chance. That's a lot of Oregon guys. There'll be some instant chemistry there. I mean, what's the next pick going to be? Dylan Gabriel? I mean, are we going to hire Dan Lanning too at this point? But with all that said, Jordan James, good pass catcher, got some good speed. Could be some decent value if you get him at 223. Last on this mock draft from the 33rd team is Indiana quarterback Curtis Rourke. And Rourke, I'll say this. I like this for a backup quarterback in that he's got high football IQ. He doesn't have the strongest arm. In fact, he might have a noodle arm, to be honest. But he's a smart football player, and he finds his spots. I would say one of the things that stood out to me watching him in Indiana this year, there wasn't a whole lot of talent. There wasn't a whole lot of Indiana players going to the NFL. But he was such a smart football player that he maximized what he could with the players around him. Put his players in good spots and took advantage of it. Not a terrible pick, although quarterback's not a high priority, but it's a 7th round pick anyway. So let's grade the 33rd team's Seahawks mock draft. How do you think our guy Kyle Krabs, who I still can't confirm or deny if he has crabs or not? It's crazy to me. I haven't found out this information. Maybe one day we'll ask him. How would you grade how Kyle and his crabs did? A, B, C, D, or F? Get your grade in the comments section and let us know. So to recap, this was the mock draft from the 33rd team. Matthew Golden, Jonah, JTT, Caldwell, and Belton, followed by Johnson, Mickens, Mondin Jr., James, and Rourke. I don't think this is a bad mock draft. Personally, I would not have taken Matthew Golden at 18, but you did get a couple of good offensive linemen with Belton along with Jonah. So you did take care of those things, and you addressed a lot of needs in this draft. This could have been a lot worse. You are betting a lot on Golden for a position that you already have your number 1 and 2 receivers established. And you're ignoring potentially some good linemen still on the board with that pick. So that's my thoughts. This is a good mock, but not a great mock draft. But it's one I could live with. If this is how things end up being, if we're sitting here on Saturday night, and this is who the Seahawks end up taking, I can live with that, which is okay with me. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Like the video. Oh, there we go. Get my thumb straight. There we go. Like the video. If you enjoyed today's show, if you would like us to do a mock draft, we need about 500 likes on today's video. And then we'll bring you an updated mock draft later this week if you guys can make that happen. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you next time on this very program that we happen to call Seattle Seahawks Today.